The lady yields back. The gentleman from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To complete this triad of veterans' fathers, fathers of sons who have served in Iraq, is Joe Wilson, whose son Alan has received the Combat Action Badge for service in Iraq, and the Palmetto Cross, which is a high award for the National Guard in South Carolina, and who has a son in the Signal Corps, Julian, a doctor in the Navy, Ad, and a son, Hunter, a well-named son, Hunter, in the ROTC. And the reason I'm going through these members of the Wilson clan, Mr. Speaker, is because inspired by his wife Roxanne, all these young men are serving the military, and if the Wilson family does not re-up, we are in trouble. So at this time, I'd like to recognize the great gentleman from South Carolina, Joe Wilson, and to follow that wonderful presentation by Mr. Aiken.
Is recognized for how much time, please?
For as much time as he'd like to consume.
The gentleman is recognized for as much time as he may consume.
Thank you, Congressman Hunter, for your leadership for our troops and for your son's service in Iraq. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of our men and women serving in the United States Armed Forces in an opposition to House Concurrent Resolution 63, a resolution that claims to support the troops but opposes reinforcements. To truly support our troops, we must provide the equipment and sufficient personnel requested by their commander, General David Petraeus. I believe that we must triumph in the global war on terrorism, that victory in Iraq is the only option, and that America's survival is at stake. My convictions are deeply derived from personal experience and from historical perspective. My concerns have been developed as a member of the Armed Services Committee, through which I have visited Iraq 6 times, as a 31-year veteran of the Army Reserves and Army National Guard, and as a proud parent of an Iraq veteran. Less than a year after the war in Iraq began, my eldest son, Captain Alan Wilson, was deployed across Iraq, where he served honorably for 1 year. Alan worked for young girls to be able to attend schools. He has been a trusted military advisor to me regarding life on the front lines in Iraq. Alan today continues to serve in the South Carolina Army National Guard. In addition to Alan, my younger 3 sons are also in the military. My wife Roxanne and I appreciate their dedication to protecting American families. The decision to support continued efforts in Iraq is not one I made lightly. In the end, however, it is the only viable solution. Retreat is not an option. Defeat is not an option. There is no end but victory. I was truly transformed by September the 11th, and I live with its ramifications every day. I sincerely believe we are faced with fighting the terrorists overseas today, or we will face them in the streets of America tomorrow. The attacks of September 11th were not isolated random events. Our enemy is highly intelligent, well-financed, and committed to the destruction of our freedoms. Terrorists have declared war on the American people. We have a choice of opposing them overseas or fighting them again here in America. The concept that America's retreat in Iraq will bring an end to sectarian violence and terrorist activity in the region ignores history. Premature retreat will embolden the enemy and make us more vulnerable to attacks. We have seen it happen before. Withdrawals from Beirut and Mogadishu led to the 1993 World Trade Center attack, the 1998 embassy bombings across Africa, the 2000 bombings of the USS Cole, and ultimately September the 11th, 2001. Al-Qaeda has openly stated Iraq is the central front in the war on terrorism. Osama bin Laden himself has said, quote, "The issue is big and the misfortune is momentous. The most important and serious issue today for the whole world is this Third World War. I say to you that the war will be won either by us or by you. If it's the former, loss and disgrace will be your lot for all eternity, and Allah be praised, this is the way the wind is blowing. If it is the latter, you should read the history books. We are a nation that does not remain silent over injustice, and we will seek blood vengeance all life long. Not many days and nights will pass before we take blood vengeance, like we did on 9/11. End of quote of Osama bin Laden. We ignore bin Laden's words to the peril of American families. All of this is not to say that members of Congress do not have an obligation to question foreign policy. As elected public officials, it is our duty to do so. If by conscience one disagrees with our direction, he or she has a responsibility to put forth an alternative plan. An alternative plan, however, is not what we're debating today. Instead, the Democrat leadership has put aside 36 hours of debate for a resolution that provides no substantive solutions. Our men and women in uniform deserve better. Their families deserve better. These men and women deserve to know that America supports them, that Congress will provide requested equipment and personnel, and that we are all committed to their victory. There is no magic bullet, no cure-all pill, but the fact remains that we must endure. The stakes are too high, the consequences of defeat too catastrophic. As men and women elected to represent our constituencies and provide for their well-being, it is our responsibility to look out for the safety of American families. In conclusion, God bless our troops. We will never forget September the 11th. Our thoughts and prayers are with the late Congressman Charlie Norwood, his wife Gloria, his family, his staff, and his constituents. I yield the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields.